Hello YouTube, what's going on? It's Balthazar3457 and welcome to my video for Affliction Warlocks, and I'll be covering the Affliction talent build and the Affliction spells, and the first one I'm probably going to look at is Soul Swap and the glyphs related to that. But before I do that, I'm going to take you guys to the trainer, and also, before I forget, all of your soul shards are gone if you are a Warlock. The Abyssal bag, which is the, it used to be the 32-slot soul shard bag, has now been converted into just a normal 22-slot bag, and I have put my glyphs into this bag accordingly. So yeah, you can put random stuff into the former soul shard bag. And yeah, it's a 22-slot bag, and if you're also a tailor, you might want to make some money out of that before Cataclysm launches. Hint, 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 hint. So remember to do that after the video. Look into that. Anyway,
what business have you?
First things first, new stuff from the trainer. Control Demon, you get this at level 10 now. Allows you to give commands to control your pet. Thing is, you'll probably notice that I have my imp out, and some of his spells have been removed. But this doesn't give you an increased number of spells. There's something else that's also been changed. So you'll have your Summon Infernal and your Summon Doomguard spells. These have both been changed significantly, and I'll demonstrate them on a target dummy later in this video. First thing you want to notice is Summon Infernal. 1.5 second cast, summons a meteor, yada yada, does fire damage, and stuns enemies in the target area for 2 seconds. Infernal rises from the crater under the command of the caster for 45 seconds, 10-minute cooldown. The Infernal deals strong area of effect damage and will be drawn to attack targets afflicted by your Bane of Agony or Bane of Doom spells. And my assumption is, and I'll test this in a minute to see, is Control Demon lets you issue commands to the Infernal. And the same thing applies to the Doomguard. You summon a Doomguard to fight beside you for 45 seconds, 10-minute cooldown, instant cast. The Doomguard will assist you by attacking the target which is affected by your Bane of Agony or Bane of Doom spell. My assumption is that Control Demon will just let you use pet commands for these two. So, let's see what happens when we summon an Infernal without one. Okay, so it showed up. It's considered a minion, but I have it in addition to my little Jackmat, who's my imp. Alright, let's see if I get anything new right off the bat. Control Demon. Drain. I wonder what that did then.
Death to all.
Is there anything in the spellbook? Demonology. Control Demon. Okay. Well, nothing really has changed with Control Demon, so on to the next topic. Soul Burn. You get this at level 10. 1 soul shard, and you see I've got 3 soul shards up here. 45 second cooldown, consumes a soul shard to modify some of your spells, including Summon Demon, blah 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 blah. These are some examples, and we'll see what this does later. Let's train Soul Burn. I'll put that on my taskbar. Soul Burn. Move this over here. This is interesting. Apparently when you log in, you don't have any soul shards used, so I can't use it at this time.
Glory to the Sindorai.
We'll look into that later. Soul Harvest. Heals you and allows you to regain soul shards. Must be channeled to maintain. Best used between combats to recover soul shards and health. 30-second cooldown. Alright, Nethermancy, Intellect by 5%. Mastery. You train this at level 80, so don't be thinking about Mastery for alts. Now let's see, what was that other spell that I just grabbed? Was it the Affliction Tree? No. Soul Harvest. Yeah, we'll put that there. Let's see what happens when I click channel. What's the duration? Let's see how long it lasts. Okay, so if I go for the full duration, which lasts about 10 seconds, I recharge all 3 of my runes. We'll take a look and see what happens if I use this in combat later in the video.
State your business.
But first things first, new spells. Fell Flame deals Shadow Flame damage to an enemy target, increasing the duration of Immolate or Unstable Affliction by 6 seconds. Instant cast, not very much mana cost, and no cooldown that's been noted. This will be interesting to level with. We'll see what that does. Reminds me of Festering Strike from my DK video. Dark Intent. You link yourself with a target, with the targeted friendly target, increasing both of your haste by 3%. When you or the linked target gains a critical periodic damage or healing effect, the other gains an increased 3%, increased periodic damage, and healing effect for 7 seconds. Stacks up to 3 times. Okay, so this is like that mage spell. I forget what it's called. The one that lets you share a buff with somebody else. Whatever that one's called. And Demon Soul. Yeah. Level 55, level 85 spell now. Instant cast, 2-minute cooldown. And you gain a buff depending on which pet you have out. Shadow Bolt damage increased by 10% if you have the Succubus. Periodic damage from shadow effects if you got the Fell Hunter. Felguard is spell haste, and fire and shadow damage done increased by 10%. And Voidwalker is all threat generated by you transfers to your Voidwalker for 15 seconds. If you generally like to go and try to solo stuff via having your Voidwalker tank, that's going to be really useful. And for the Imp, critical strike damage on cast time, destruction spells increased by 60% for 30 seconds. Each spell cast benefiting from this effect, it reduces the bonus by 20% until the bonus expires after 3 casts. Yeah. Well, first things first, I'm going to show you some of the glyphs and some of the affliction spells in this video. So, yeah. Now that we've trained, let's go after the dummies. Okay, so we're at the target dummies. And one other thing, before I forget, is your Pet Stay spell has been replaced by a Move To spell. So I can click an area and my pet will go there. So yeah. Unfortunately, there's no, kill this target and then that target and then the other target attack move command like there is in StarCraft 2, but, well, guess you'll have to make do with a normal attack spell. Anyway, here I am at the target dummies, and let's go for our talents. Affliction. Shadow Mastery. Increases shadow spell damage done by 25%. Mastery. Potent Afflictions. Increases all periodic shadow damage you deal by 13%. Each point of Mastery increases periodic shadow damage by an additional 1.63%. And their special spell is, of course, Unstable Affliction. Okay. As for an Affliction build, well, personally, back in Burning Crusade, I was the typical 41-7-11 PvP Affliction Warlock, sort of a hybrid PvP rating spec, sort of, I guess you could call it. In Wrath of the Lich King, I opted for a Haunt, Soul Link, and Bane build, and I'm going to go for something a little bit similar in this particular case. Now, usually what I do is I go for Haunt, and then I dip into Demonology to get Demonic Embrace and Fell Synergy. And I would have also dipped in enough to get Soul Link, but here's something that's very interesting. Soul Link is a base spell now. You do not require Demonology talent points to get Soul Link. It comes with you as a Warlock, no matter whatever spec you are. So Soul Link is base. And, yeah, okay, let's go back. Okay, Doom and Gloom increases the critical strike chance of your Bane of Agony and Bane of Doom spells. Well, let's take a look at those for a moment. Yes, I know I have unsaved talents. Oh my gosh. Okay, Bane of Doom. Curse of Doom has been changed a bit. Instant cast. Deals a large amount of shadow damage once every 30 seconds, with a small chance of summoning a Doom Guardian to assist you. Best used on very long fights in dungeons or on group quests. You may only have one Bane active on target at a time. Okay, how long is its duration? 1 minute. So every, damage every 30 seconds, once every 30 seconds, once every 15 seconds. Okay, so one of these tooltips is wrong. Okay, so it does the damage on the on the 15-second mark, not the 30-second mark. So, yeah. This tooltip's wrong, this one's right. Okay. Yeah, it's proccing every 15 seconds. Alright, let's put on the other one. And these are still counted as curse spells, even though they're quote-unquote banes. So there's no change to how the spell's mechanic actually works, except I imagine that you'll also be able to use your normal curses with it. Let's see what happens. Bane of Agony is up. Curse of the Elements. Yes, you can apply both at the same time now. Bane of Agony is on the target, so is Curse of Elements, so on and so forth. You can have both up at the same time. Awesome. Okay, so, back to the talents. Doom and Gloom, you definitely want this if you're rolling Affliction. Improved Corruption, you also want this if you're rolling Affliction. Go for 3/3. And Improved Life Tap, I'm a bit skeptical about Improved Life Tap. You already get a pretty significant amount of mana from it as it is, but let's put 1 talent point in it, because we're going to need it later. And first things first, Jinx. Your Curse of the Elements also affects all nearby enemy targets within 40 yards of the cursed target. Also, your Curse of Weakness reduces the target's energy, rage, focus, or runic power regeneration by 10% while active. This can be pretty useful in PvP, I imagine, and in some cases also in PvE. I'm going to go outside the city in just a minute and test this on a bunch of hostile mobs and see if it aggroes everything within a 100-yard radius. We'll see about that. Soul Siphon. 2 talent points, increases the amount drained by your Drain Life and Drain Soul spells by an additional 6%, up to 3 effects total, for a total of 18%. And you acquire this to get Siphon Life, and Siphon Life has been changed again. When you deal damage with your Corruption spell, you have a 50% chance to be healed for 2% of your total health. I'm a bit skeptical about this, because I think this might be kind of a nerf, depending on how things have been changed. Because if I recall correctly, 40% every time it ticked generally did more healing than 2% of your total health. I could be wrong about that. We'll see. We'll check that out. Improved Fear, same as always. 30% movement speed reduction for 5 seconds after the fear breaks. Very useful for crowd control and for PvP. Personally, since Warlocks are now having a more active role in crowd control, you're probably going to want this even if you're going for a rating spec as Affliction. Curse of Exhaustion. It's been buffed. It's now a 50% snare instead of a 30% snare. Only 1 curse per Warlock can be active on any target at the time. 30-second duration. Yeah, it's Curse of Exhaustion. Soul Swap. We'll be looking into this also in this video. Once I finish with the talents, we're going to do some target dummy practicing and see what happens. Improved Howl of Terror. Yeah, I like having that. It's great for PvP and stuff. You may or may not opt for this if you're going for a hardcore rating DPS build, but that will ultimately depend on your playstyle. So do not interpret this build as a hardcore DPS build. It is mainly supposed to get all of these spells that I can from Affliction, and then illustrate what they do with the new mechanics and the new Soulburn spell. Shadow Embrace. Your Shadow Bolt and Haunt spells apply the Shadow Embrace effect, increasing all